First, let me start with introduction, because this part I cannot skip. So as was mentioned, I'm head of IT infrastructure in the company. Since 2016, we are a fintech company, basically product owner, which means we have the full product life cycle in-house, like full expertise starting from sales, marketing, BAs, QAs, business intelligence, development, DevOps, basic security, and everything is there. We are providing certain financial services, basically helping our customers to optimize their working capital. In particular, our focus is on reverse factoring and receivables financing. As we are a BaFin regulated company, most of you knows what is BaFin. It's a very proper place to be today, especially in such unique close round with a lot of technical expertise and really hands-on experience. Yes. What I can do right now, in fact, after yesterday, I can stop right now and just leave. Because I have a strong feeling that we are on the same line, and there are so many overlaps between the topics. We can talk about remote, non-remote, compliance, how to treat it, how to deal with it, how to understand it. There are so many overlaps that I would say that my presentation is covered for 90% already. And I was struggling a bit yesterday, like preparing the completely new notes. I will need to read from time to time. Sorry for that. But it's good. And what I would want to do right now is I want to try to slice it differently, to slice information slightly differently for you. Just probably to trigger some thoughts and discussions afterwards, or even probably beyond this day. We have a remote office as a trend today. It's obvious, yes? The question, what I want to discuss today is, do we still have non-remote office? Because this is subject of my presentation, and when I start preparing it, is the fact of non-remote office already exist? As the other guy said yesterday, there are certain restrictions why office can be non-remote in particular cases and no other options. I will touch it a bit later. And we need to try to understand the difference. What kind of difference and what is the thin points and thin lines we should cross or change them or forget about them, for example. The thing is we will talk about trust, we will talk about security, inspiration, efficiency, compliance, work-life balance, coherence, resource availability, and other things. I'm fully sure that there are no truths, and I'm not a source of truth here. Everyone will build his truth around on his own, basically knowing the reality of your company, of your environment, of your teams. And only then, basically, you can be efficient. Probably the worst thing you can do is to just read some book, grab some best practices, and just apply them to your company. There's so many things around, it will just not work out of the books. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, will we talk about non-remote roles as a separate domain at all? Probably not. While remote office, it exists for many years already, decades. But non-remote was a standard. It's still, I'm sure it is still standard. It is still fully compliant, and documents are not gone, documents not removed, and understanding is still there. But it is time to rethink what is non-remote roles, what is on-site work, and what is a site, basically, as a domain, as a physical location, what we are talking about here in general. I will touch this topic in the end. I will try to invest a bit more time there, but right now I want to stress on the fact that basically it doesn't matter who you are in the company. Is it first level support, second level support, DevOps, security guy, manager, sales? It is only in your hands to inspire any security changes. Don't believe that management will come to you. I mean, probably it's happening somewhere, yes, but you know the best what you need, what will be convenient for you, and where is the balance between convenience and security. But I will talk about that a bit later. Is it really non-remote? The slide's about non-remote, but is it really non-remote? Want to show here that basically relative location of work in domains and hardly definable perimeter makes any role remote de facto. Think about complexity there. You see, it is so complex that even arrows not aligned completely there. Yeah? Think about your product, where it is located, what is the operational region of your product, what is the data center's location. Think about your development team and how it works, outsource, outstaff, team extension models, consultancy, external partners. They will be remote relative to your non-remote role. Yeah, then how you will define that guy should stay in the office? Will he be really non-remote to all potential working domains? Probably not. Think about sales. You as a security people, as security working in security domains, your sales will be on the go all the time, and you will work as remote employee relative to them, so you will stay remote anyway. HR department, I mean, here just a bit step aside, yeah, a lot of things will be rather like from management perspective and a bit less about technology, but this is, again, just to try to slice it differently. Think about HR department, how you will be able to conduct proper facilitation or personal development plans or progress talks with the guys who are on site, HR on site, you are working remotely, or vice versa. Yeah, think about internal customers, and here I mean, like, if you are providing certain level of support to other colleagues, then they are your internal customers. Apparently, you're providing some services to them. How cross-department support works. If department is remote, you're sitting in the office, are you remote? Or are you on site for them? Yes, some interactions, as an example, product owners, business owners, IT departments, and others. All of them, they're interacting between each other. External customers, obviously think how to provide support to them if they're distributed like geographically here and there. Reporting line, and this is very important things, how to communicate with your reporting line, how to communicate with the guys who are reporting to you, how to distribute to them security knowledge, how to inspire them. You need to provide the coaching, you need to provide the guiding, you need to do certain performance review, or yesterday we touched KPIs topic, especially in the domain of security. And you don't have apparently so much of control when you are sitting on site or you are working remotely and other party have like opposite behavior or opposite requirements to stay here or basically travel, for example. Yes. Think about your team and the company structure. The last three here is about team, squads, and office. Why, for me, it's completely different. You may have a team which is security team, you may have a squads, and this is probably an example of how we are working. We have squads, and in the same squad, you may have, and what we are doing basically, employees from different departments who are working on the projects, just like security, DevOps, developer, quality assurance, business owners or product owners, and so on and so forth. And of course, physical locations. Physical locations and being non-remote, but having couple of floors in the building, like in your organization, makes you immediately remote. Basically, you are not there. You need to go to elevator, you need to find someone is on lunch or doing some other stuff or on a meeting, and then you are remote. The point to be taken out of here that remote always was in place. Today, it is even broader, applied everywhere. Let's think wider when we are talking about that. Here, I want to talk about definition criteria. Again, coming back to the very first slide, I won't just offer certain definition criteria to you, which you can try to use to define your roles. Should they be remote or not? What would be the better? The thing that continuous collaboration, this is also the topic which cannot come from management unless the management just want to see everyone in the office, or there are some very hard requirements. I will touch them a bit later on this slide. But it is possible for sure. Talk to your management, talk to your colleagues, bringing them some examples of definition criteria saying we need to have this role on site, or we don't, or we can survive in hybrid mode. This is no one else can do basically except you as a security staff of a company. Want to start from the top, the centers of gravity. It is quite important. Not everyone was able to adapt to complete remote office, or they think they're there, which is in fact not the case. For centers of gravity, I decided to get the smaller three categories. Think about your official communication, how it is established in your company. Is it secure enough, of course? And here official communication channels, let's say chats, messengers, documentation, emails, yeah, bug tracking and other stuff. Is it on-prem? Is it remote? Mostly, of course, yeah. I want to believe that everyone is using rather online services for the communication, and it's there, but still a factor. Think about non-official communication channels and what is happening there, especially from security point of view. It was mentioned before, that's why it's quite hard today just to run in the circles again. What is happening at home? Who is discussing what at home? What about NDA? How it is preserved? Is it in restaurant or somewhere else? Someone working in the evening, like, I don't know, waiting some build or code compilation in the same time playing the game and like chatting in Discord, yes, or something like that is happening. Easy peasy, no questions there. Besides that, non-official talks means like occasional communication in the office on site, which is happening, which helps not only to exchange on information, but also spot some problematic things, especially in the security domain, and spot things not only on from technical point of view that someone breached something and don't want to talk about that or expose it, yeah, but as well about convenience. It is happening from time to time, like being on a kitchen, making a coffee, you just hear somewhere that guys are not happy that VPN is not working, you cannot connect to it, and it's not convenient to work remotely, but no one is saying that aloud. And sorry, security as well about convenience. This is your responsibility. Will you be able to hear all this talk sitting at home before your employee will report to you via the bug tracking or whatever support system what you are using there? It is quite important. And it is giving way more observability, as for me, about the real application, real applicability of your security things you implemented or want to implement. Again, like coming back to the books and the best practices, sometimes your employees can say you directly like what they want, what they like, what they don't like, and applying certain restrictions may not make any sense because no one is touching this or that part of a system, no one is trying even violate your policies, and probability of that way smaller, and you can concentrate on certain other things. Access to the knowledge keepers, this is also very important, gravity centers, but here I want to say it separately, knowledge keepers and experience keepers. It is different in the end. Yeah, like especially in security domain, I would say. Yeah, you may have a couple of guys who have very advanced knowledge in security, but they don't have enough experience. They don't have experience of your company. They don't have insights in your company. And there can be other guys like first level support, second level support, who's working for many, many years. They know what is going on there. They're really touching the system every day. They really can hear how your customers suffering, internal clients, internal customers, externals. They can give you very valuable information. Listen to them. And don't forget that non-remote role, being very close to others, very valuable, but only in case the person on site not alone. Yeah, I mean, if it's alone, then it's still remote. Classified restrict resources. It was mentioned yesterday by the medical company, by the other speaker. There are certain restrictions which we should not even discuss. Yeah, I mean, it can be just physical location of production. It can be very expensive tools, devices, whatever, or unique devices which you just cannot duplicate. They're expensive or not, doesn't matter. You need to remember that reaction time, this is also something what is restricted and classified just by the means of its importance. Can you achieve the same reaction time on security incidents and same response time, yeah, which is different, at least for me, sitting at home? We at home. I have a family, I have a kids. Sorry, I cannot guarantee I can react properly in time, in 10 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever is our SLA and required reaction time just because I'm at home. There are kids, there are stuff to do, there are coffee, which may be a bit more tasty than in the office, and I may not be there. While in the office, it can be easier. It's not 100%, of course, but it can be way easier. Think about that. Video surveillance, action tracking, other things which is related to highly classified companies, highly classified actions, keep them in mind. Efficiency, same, it was discussed. Network latency, network resilience, secondary power supply, and other stuff, which is quite hard to provide at home. Yeah. After the corona, and probably worse to mention that after the beginning of the war in Ukraine, today everyone thinking about their energy security, and probably you have some batteries at home and stuff like that. But office is office, and if it's properly set, I want to believe that it's a bit more safer from this point of view to work from there and to preserve your availability on expected level. Yes, the next one would be cognitive load. The cognitive load and timing. Destructive, non-destructive environment. Very personal to each particular office, building, organization, location, and structure. Is it tanks? Is it rooms? Is it open space? Where your IT guys sitting? Are they sitting close to the business operations, or like business support or first line support who are talking like 24/7 more or less, and they cannot concentrate, or vice versa? So for non-remote roles, you really need to understand the role. If this person needs certain level of concentration, it may be useless to keep him in the office. If you cannot provide this level of concentration in the office, then sorry, you cannot demand the outcome from the task which require the concentration and certain level of isolation. Still, there are different time models, how you can apply on-site role or an on-site mode of work with preserving some flexibility. And it's not only occasional visits. It is shifts, week by week, day by day, like 24/7 with shifts during the day. There are many different approaches. Occasional on-sites, free talks, which would make sense, coming back to the topics of centers of gravity, just to keep a proper exchange level among your employees. Think about personalities. I know, and it was a topic yesterday many times on the round table, that big, small companies, yes, I'm enjoying to work in small company, I would say, where I can talk to everyone, where we know each other like very closely and we're interacting very actively. But if you're in a big company, it's still not a blocker to understand who needs what. Think about feelings of isolation, feelings of detachment, feelings of coherence, or just pure required discipline. It will affect your security. You never know who is thinking what sitting at home. You never know who wants to do what. You know that it can be quite hard to build a career path sitting at home. Yes, because you're not exposed to your management, to your colleagues. It may be a problem. And then sitting at home and still want to build your career path, you may want to try to do something what you're not doing every day. And then in isolation, you're sitting and clicking, writing code, clicking to show your expertise, just to show to your colleagues that you deserve something more. Will it affect security? Sooner or later, 100%. It may hit. It may hit by not verified code in case of lack of policies, like lack of expertise around, lack of possibility to ask someone, or anything else. Being on site means being in team, being in family, whatever. And coming back to the topic that you need to understand your employees, and you can. If you cannot talk to each one out of couple of hundreds who working in your team, this is responsibility of their team leads. The direct responsibility of their team leads, like technical leads, coaching guides, HRs, check your policies, check how it's organized in your company. You need to have this link. You need to feel the mood. Are you at risk to breach some security or not? Doesn't matter how advanced your technology is. Is it cool, LastPass? Is it like observability system? Doesn't matter. You need to know your employees. There's always a man behind who will click something. And you will not have a reason to blame anyone in the end. Security part, I will probably skip very fast. It is about MDM, monitoring, observability, data leak prevention, data leak detection, and other stuff. And here, probably doesn't make sense believe too much that being in the office means avoiding data leakage. Yes, just because of digitalization and the rest of the things. The next one. Can I say that this is kind of advices? Probably not. Probably my observations, and just to trigger some talks later. You need to understand the blast. Will blast be smaller if someone will breach something, will violate certain policies sitting in the office? Will it be really smaller? Can you put additional scores to list of benefits of non-remote roles? Or it doesn't make sense? A very important thing to add to your list before you want to decide something. Data exchange flow risk. Coming back to the previous slide. In fact, person sitting in the office still remote relative to someone. And here you can be in the mental trap of treating, okay, I'm in the office, I'm more secure. But when you have data exchange with like someone who's outside of the office, don't be in this trap. You are still remote, your data is still outside, you're still not communicating inside the office, you're still exposing text and anything else. And this is trap for both sides, basically. The person who is sitting remote may think that sending data to the office is safe, or vice versa. And if you're thinking basically that you're sending data inside your network, inside your physical location, this may not be the case. This is probably one of the cases where direct technical responsibility required to verify if you want to establish or isolate data flows inside your office. Pay attention very, very carefully. Like, are your data really leaving the office, leaving on-site premises or not? Portable device security, the same. Here I will say, like on the other side of the slide, how I would like to treat it at least. Non-remote doesn't mean safe and secure. Just because of portable devices they exist. Also, point was discussed before. Location availability risks, again, quite hard to run into circles again. What will happen if your location not available anymore? Do you have a backup location? What you will do, which exceptions you will be ready to apply to allow access from remote location, for example, in case your main on-site office not available, or you will be ready to sacrifice on some business features on the workflow or stuff like that. And perimeter controls. Everyone knows today it's really literally impossible to identify your perimeter, to understand your perimeter. Sit down and try. Sit down and try. You will have a huge list of emails, of your company emails spread here and there. People are registering in different services to do POC, to test, to verify data processing agreement before signing the contracts, to talk to someone, apply for some conference. It's everywhere. Like, for sure, the complete identification or definition of perimeter is almost impossible. By the way, we observed last year a couple of interesting vendors, will not advertise them, who is scanning every day whole internet. They are saying like that, at least, and they're trying to find traces of your company by the keywords in internet, including parts of darknet. Very interesting solutions. Make sense to take a look, probably. Works quite good. We tested them in a manner that we uploaded certain document, not classified document, to internet with our keywords 24 hours before they start scanning the internet, basically. We rented certain hosting, doesn't matter where, quite far away. Document was there, and the next day, in fact, they reported that this document was uploaded. So they skipped like caches or commonly used caches. They're really scanning the internet. Can be quite interesting thing, not to understand your perimeter, but to understand where, if you have openly exposed data somewhere. What I would dream about, and dream because we don't have it implemented, like on the very good level at least, demilitarized zone. Whatever it means for you. Yes, this can be reverse proxy, forward proxy, caching, pre-caching, verification, file scanning, doesn't matter. I think this is always a good idea. It can slow down process. So how I'm dreaming about it, each message, each piece of data which should be delivered between your employees or your systems needs to be intercepted and stored in your demilitarized zone. I wouldn't say this is quarantine, because basically you are not marking it as a dangerous or even, but you are treating it as potentially dangerous. Then scan it, verify, do data leak detection, do viruses scanning, do whatever you want to do with it, and only then pass it forward to the recipient. Yes, it can slow down process. Can be interesting idea to apply to certain data where you have a risk, or to certain communication channels. For example, board members or security staff, or business-related information. Depends how you would want to slice it. Zero trust, nothing to discuss today. Nice, good, and can help limit the blast. With invoking of MFA, which is happening today quite often. In fact, you are getting like, do you want to authorize yourself somewhere? You are in rush, you are clicking it. And then if you have a zero trust, then apparently it would be harder, not impossible, but harder to attacker to penetrate your system, to log in from somewhere else, from non-authorized device. Repeating the story, I strongly believe that persons who is sitting in the office still remote relative to someone. It can be a very nice approach to treat non-remote guys in absolutely the same manner as remote guys, from technical security perspective, which will help you as well to unify your setup and avoid these exceptions unless you really need them, from the point of MDM and other things. Yes. Backup location, think about, but more interesting is the backdoors. Very interesting topic. Backdoors commonly used as a way to penetrate your system if someone is creating the backdoor and then, like missing it. But think about your backdoors, like logins to recover access to the systems in case you cannot access them from your main location. And tests. For tests, it is like what we experienced, at least, that we need to test not only positive results of the test, testing our configuration, but as well negative results. What I mean by that, so we have certain endpoints which opened only from the office. Yes, like you can access them like only being in the office. And we have a tests basically to keep to test it, like if it's not available from outside, but also we are doing tests to verify that they're available from inside. Don't forget that there are always two sides of a coin. Positive and negative tests exist. How theoretically we can optimize efficiency? Just to think about. This is your responsibility on all levels to understand, explain to your management, first explain to yourself, and justify. Justify your physical location, justify the work mode and timing, justify requirements, and understand them first, of course, and think about KPIs. Do not use KPIs against someone, do not use KPIs as a way to blame someone, but use KPIs of others to understand what you're doing wrong in terms of security. If someone not following some policies, apparently there's something wrong, you don't need this tool, or it's not convenient, or there are some other reasons, but use KPIs of others to understand your fault. It will help, definitely. Trust, inspire, stay flexible. Change your organization. If everything working fine or looks like working fine to management, it would be very hard for them just to come to you and say, come on, should we change something? You need to come to them and say, we need to change because security doesn't work or will not work, or we are scaling in a year. You plan to scale the company, you plan to scale toolset, you plan to expand. Let's think today. Let's do it right now. Let's do not wait. We don't want to act retrospectively. Think about your structure. Teams, squads, and individual contributors. Teams is clear. Squads, what I mentioned before, it can be very different. One guy from security, one from QA, one from development. Very different expertise to achieve the same great results, but you can mix in the end. You can mix policies, you can mix real access controls, you can forget something. Think about trust, inspire, be ready for failures, be ready to treat the failures or like fight with them. But basically you need to stay flexible and accept certain risks. You need to define, unify, and follow your objectives, processes, and goals. Nothing to add here, but be transparent. talk inside the teams, talk inside the company, talk in front of your company that, yes, we failed. Yes. And probably we will change nothing, because failure is not always the reason to change something. We need to insist on some policies. We need to do education, trainings, doesn't matter, be transparent. It's clear everyone is failing, kids failing in school. We are failing like with speeding tickets on the road. Everyone is failing. Think about the consequences and probably nothing bad will happen. And for sure, like your management and your team will understand you and rather support to survive the failure. And the very last, as a conclusion, and at least my vision, how I would define it. Yes, the perimeter, big problem. Think about security in this perimeter. Think about company structure, team structure. Think about communication on site, occasional talks, what is going on there. And think about personalities. It is last, but I really want to stop here and I want to close my part here, because personalities is the thing, the guy who is executing. This is the point which is generating value. Think about them, you need to understand them. Otherwise, forcing the policies, you may have an issues then with finding staff or keeping the great people in the company if you will not think about them. Yes, that's probably my part for today. Thanks a lot. Really looking forward for the next. Good luck for others, and let's grow together.
Thank you.